Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take a stack of your sources, articles, research, and notes and distill them down to the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight just for you. Today, we're stepping away from just reading reports. We're actually diving headfirst into a really chilling, unsolved mystery, one that once absolutely gripped a bustling, vibrant metropolis. So, try to picture Tehran. It's the spring of 1404 on the Persian calendar. The city is just buzzing with life. You've got the constant hum of traffic, the chatter in the bazaars, maybe the smell of jasmine in the air. But all this life, this, noise and commotion, it's happening under the sky, often described as kind of gray and smoke-filled. Sounds like a pretty standard, energetic city, right?
Right, a typical urban scene.
But beneath that surface hum, something else was spreading, silently. A kind of terror. And it wasn't, a natural disaster, political unrest, the usual things you might expect in a capital. This was, well, it was far more insidious. A series of truly chilling, mysterious murders started happening. They quickly seized the city's imagination, created this palpable fear, and led the media to coin this infamous, terrifying name, Tehran's Night Bat.
The Night Bat. That name itself carries weight.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to take all this detailed information you've given us, the reports, the investigation notes, these fragments of horror, and we're going to unravel it. Piece by painstaking piece, almost like detectives ourselves. We'll dig into the cold, hard facts, really try to understand the fear that took hold of the city, and explore the surprising, frankly unsettling twists in this very unique, baffling case. We'll look at the killer's MO, the investigation's ups and downs, the key players, and ultimately grapple with the implications of a mystery that, well, still casts a long shadow.
Okay, let's unpack this. Absolutely. And what we're really looking at here, it isn't just a series of random crimes. It feels much more like a meticulously orchestrated sequence of events, almost designed, to have this profound psychological impact on an entire city. The way the media grabbed onto that name, Tehran's Night Bat, it wasn't just a catchy headline. It became this powerful symbol.
Yeah, it amplified everything.
It really did. It took this sort of formless, unknown terror and gave it a memorable, haunting identity, something that really burrowed deep into the collective consciousness, this naming. It's not just sensationalism. It taps into that deep human need to name things, to try and contain or understand what feels utterly incomprehensible.
And that terror, it started quietly, didn't it? Almost creeping up before exploding into this widespread panic. Over just 3 months, 3 agonizing months, 4 murders, each one in a totally different part of this huge city. It must have made the threat feel like it was everywhere. You had Sarah Hosseini, just 22, a student, found in Park Millet, a place people go to relax, walk.
A place of peace, shattered.
Completely. Then Kamran Najafi, 35, a bank employee, found in an alley off Al-Yasser Street, one of the busiest streets in Tehran. Next, Akbar Mohammadi, a taxi driver, 48 years old. His life ended right there in his cab in Naziabad, a working-class area. A stark reminder, wasn't it? No one was safe, no matter where they were or what they did.
It breaks down those barriers of perceived safety.
And finally, Layla Rostami, 42, a housewife, killed in her own apartment in Tehran Pars, a residential zone miles away from the other scenes. So, 4 lives, seemingly completely unconnected, different routines, different circles, all just snuffed out. It was that randomness, that lack of any obvious pattern in the victims themselves, that really fueled the initial dread, I think.
Well, what's immediately striking, and would have been absolutely chilling for the investigators right from the start, is the incredible consistency in the method, the modus operandi. It's ritualistic.
Right. Tell us about that.
Every single victim was found at midnight, precisely. That specific timing adds this layer of, well, almost supernatural dread.
The witching hour.
Exactly. And the weapon was always the same. A rope, pulled tight around their neck. It suggests a very methodical, almost intimate kind of violence.
And the symbol.
Ah, yes, the symbol. The undeniable signature that locked the pattern down. A strange bat symbol drawn in the victim's blood on their forehead.
Just horrifying.
It's more than horrifying. It signals this wasn't random violence. This was highly ritualized. A pattern this consistent in the time, the specific weapon, and that incredibly unique, almost theatrical signature. It tells you a lot about the killer's psychology. It points towards a strong compulsion, maybe obsessive, maybe ritualistic in nature. That bat symbol isn't just a mark, it's a statement. It's deliberate, like a flourish meant to communicate something, though what that meaning was remained terrifyingly unclear.
So it makes the killer more than just a person.
Precisely. It transforms them from an anonymous attacker into a symbolic figure, a dark entity, which, of course, profoundly impacts public fear and how the media portrays it. The bat became this pervasive presence, a legend whispered about, capable of appearing anywhere, striking anyone.
And you can just feel how the media would run with that. Tehran's Night Bat. It wasn't just a name, it became this terrifying brand. The consistency of the crimes, plus the total lack of obvious connections between the victims. It was like fertile ground for rumors, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The wildest rumors take root in that kind of uncertainty.
People started whispering about a killer who appeared like a ghost and vanished without a trace. This elusive phantom operating only at night, that idea, that almost supernatural threat, it must have just intensified the panic. Imagine living your life, walking familiar streets, but always with this undercurrent of dread. Knowing this phantom killer was out there, striking at midnight, leaving that symbol, every shadow starts to look menacing.
And what's truly fascinating from a psychological standpoint here is how the fear itself becomes almost a character in the story. It's not just a reaction, it's a tangible force.
How so?
Well, in a huge city like Tehran, when you have an unknown killer, seemingly striking at random, appearing almost supernatural, there's this vacuum of information, and human nature abhors a vacuum. So it gets filled almost instinctively with speculation and rumor. People desperately try to find patterns, explanations, anything to make sense of the senseless. But without facts, their imaginations run wild, often creating scenarios far more terrifying than reality.
So the rumors aren't just gossip.
Not at all. They're a collective, almost primal attempt to grapple with the incomprehensible. But in doing so, they escalate public anxiety exponentially. It spreads like wildfire. The night bat stops being just a killer and becomes this urban boogeyman, a symbol of vulnerability. Everyone feels exposed, regardless of who they are or where they live. It's not just about the 4 victims anymore. It's about the potential victim and everyone. That psychological contagion is often as damaging as the crimes.
So, as the city is spiraling into this fear and uncertainty, desperate for answers, the job of catching this night bat falls to one man, Detective Bahram Sharifi. And he wasn't just any detective, was he? He was already something of a legend in the Tehran police force.
That's right. He had a formidable reputation. He'd cracked some incredibly complex, high-profile cases before.
Like what? Can you remind us?
Well, the sources mentioned Judge Kazemi's murder, which was intricate. There was also the really disturbing case of a burnt body found in Liley Park and the baffling death of a nurse at Shariati Hospital. These weren't straightforward cases.
So he had a track record for tackling the tough ones.
Exactly. He demanded sharp thinking, unwavering resolve. So when this new horror emerged, this killer operating outside the usual patterns, Bahram Sharifi was seen as the man for the job, the one capable of stepping into those shadows.
Okay, so let's picture him. He's in Police Station 12. You can almost smell the stale coffee and old paper, dusty files piled everywhere. And amidst all that, Bahram sits, focused, staring at the initial reports of these 4 murders, each one a nightmare. He's meticulously searching not just for the obvious, but for those hidden connections, the subtle echoes.
And this is precisely where the baffling nature of these crimes really hits him. His initial observations are key. Yes, there were no immediate, obvious clues, no fingerprints, no direct witnesses to the act itself. But what was even more perplexing and deeply frustrating for a seasoned investigator like him was the complete lack of any apparent connection between the victims.
Right, you mentioned that. Their ages, jobs, where they lived.
All completely different. This is highly unusual for a typical serial killer. They often have a type or operate in a specific area, driven by specific fantasies or grievances.
So this randomness makes it harder.
Massively harder. It makes profiling incredibly difficult. There's no clear victimology to guide the search. So the big question becomes, if there's no visible link, what is the killer's motive? How are they choosing targets, seemingly at random, from millions of people? Is it opportunistic, or is there some hidden logic we can't see yet? The only things tying them together, as Bahram noted, were the constants. The rope around the neck and the bat symbol. Those were the killer's unwavering signatures, the only reliable data points.
It's like the method was the message.
In a way, yes. It's both a key to their identity and, paradoxically, another challenge, because it tells you nothing about why these specific people were chosen.
And this is where Bahram's intuition comes in, right? His gut feeling.
Exactly. Years of dealing with the darkest aspects of human behavior hone that instinct.
He felt, deep down, that this wasn't just some ordinary serial killer acting on impulse. He sensed someone who had a hidden message in his murders. He felt there was a purpose, maybe even an ideology behind it. A killer who wanted to communicate something. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Because if he's right, this isn't just a manhunt. It's about deciphering a deadly puzzle.
So Bahram starts digging into each crime, trying to build that narrative. Let's go back to the first one. Park Millet. Picture the scene again. Late night, dim moonlight filtering through the trees. Sarah Hosseini, 22, student, found in a quiet corner. The park guard, Aga Reza, he saw something, didn't he? But it was vague.
Very vague. He was shaken, said he saw a shadow moving quickly in the darkness, remembered a tall man with a brimmed hat, and crucially, it was like he had something in his hand, maybe a rope,
Just a glimpse, but it's the first description.
a first thread.
And Bahram, being meticulous, goes back to the scene himself, scours the area, and finds something tiny but significant.
Yes, the piece of black fabric snagged on a branch.
And it wasn't just any fabric.
No, it seemed like part of a cape or long coat.
Yeah.
And the key detail, fine stitching in an expensive material. That tiny fragment gets sent straight to the lab.
So what does a piece of expensive fabric tell investigators at this stage?
Oh, it's huge. In the early stages, especially with no witnesses or clear links, any physical evidence is invaluable. Expensive fabric, fine stitching that immediately suggests something about the perpetrator.
Like their social standing, money.
Potentially, yes. Or at least access to such things. Maybe it hints at their attention to detail, certain fastidiousness. It could be part of a disguise, chosen deliberately to project an image or simply hide.
So it narrows things down a bit.
Considerably.
Yeah.
From the entire population of Tehran to a demographic that might wear or possess such an item. It suggests calculation, sophistication. Not a random opportunist, but someone with resources, planning to remain elusive. That fragment is the first real brushstroke in painting a portrait of this killer. Okay, moving to the second murder. Valiasar Street, near Vanak Square. Kamran Najafi, the bank employee, found in a secluded alley. This scene introduces CCTV footage. A camera caught a man with a brimmed hat lurking nearby.
Ah, a breakthrough.
Well, frustratingly, no. The image was just so blurry, his face was indistinguishable, a ghost in the machine. It highlights that common problem cameras everywhere, but often the quality just isn't good enough.
So another dead end, almost.
Almost. Bahram also interviewed a nearby shop owner. He heard something.
What did he hear?
A scream. Sharp. Sudden. But by the time he looked out, he only saw a shadow quickly disappearing. Again, fleeting, indistinct, adding to that phantom reputation.
But Bahram's search of the scene itself, he found something else, didn't he? Something concrete.
He did. A crucial, unexpected find. A silver lighter. And engraved on it were the initials IFR.
EFR. And this is where Bahram's experience kicks in, right? Those initials meant something to him.
Immediately. You can imagine the jolt. He recognized them. They weren't random.
Who did they belong to? Or who did he connect them to?
They linked directly to Farhad Rani, the mysterious businessman, someone who had cropped up enigmatically on the periphery of some of Bahram's previous big cases.
Wow, so this wasn't just a dropped lighter. This was a potential link to a known person of interest.
Exactly. It instantly transforms the investigation. From searching for a complete unknown to focusing potentially on a specific individual, even if that individual is shrouded in mystery.
So how does this lighter change the game, really? What does it mean?
Well, think about it. It's the first tangible link to a name, a potential person. And crucially, it ties into Bahram's own past work. That's a massive development. It shifts the possibilities. Maybe this isn't about random victims after all. Maybe there's a connection through Romani. Is he the killer? An accomplice? Or just somehow involved? It suggests there might be a pre-existing network, a history behind this, not just isolated acts. It means the killer might have a past martyr.
Okay, so the pressure is mounting. Then comes the third murder, Naziabad. Akbar Mohammadi, the taxi driver, found in his own cab. Same MO rope, bat symbol. But something new this time.
Yes. A note left beside the body. Stark red ink.
What did it say?
Ehusis and Ohe, which translates to the Night Bat sees.
Whoa. That feels direct. A taunt.
Absolutely. It's a shift. No longer just operating in shadows, but actively playing with the police, as Bahram felt. A direct challenge.
And this leads Bahram to talk to the victim's wife.
Yes, driven by this blatant provocation. He spoke with Akbar's grieving wife, and through her tears, a worrying detail emerged.
What was that?
Her husband had recently become concerned about a man in a dark coat seen loitering near the taxi stand watching him. He told her it felt like someone was following him. She'd dismissed it as paranoia.
Chilling. So the killer might have been stalking his victims.
It strongly suggests that. A pattern of surveillance, meticulous preparation, confirmation that the night bat was indeed watching before striking. It points to a level of premeditation far beyond just seizing an opportunity.
So psychologically, what does leaving a note like that mean? The night bat sees.
It's significant. It marks a shift from just hiding tracks to actively communicating, controlling the narrative maybe, exerting psychological dominance.
Or just taunting them like Barham thought.
That too. It could be a desire for recognition, a need for control, or a deliberate attempt to mislead. The night bat sees implies this chilling omnipresence, this awareness, maybe even a twisted sense of justice or surveillance. It suggests the killer sees themselves not just as a perpetrator, but as an observer, a judge, almost like an enforcer of something. Combined with the stalking report, it paints a picture of a very calculated, methodical killer, almost like they want the police to know they're being watched in return, turning the tables.
Okay, on to the fourth murder. Layla Rostami, the housewife in Tehran Pars. Same rope, same symbol. But the key clue here came from a neighbor.
Yes, a young boy named Ali who lived nearby. Kids often notice things adults miss. He remembered hearing something unusual.
What was it?
Heavy footsteps on the rooftop the night before. Odd for an apartment building where rooftop access isn't common. This immediately suggested an unusual entry method. Planned, maybe even specialized.
So Brahm checks the roof.
Right away, seizing on that small detail. And up there, amidst the dust, he found clear evidence. Large boot prints, giving a potential clue about the killer's size or build.
And something else, related to the weapon.
Yes,
Okay.
critically. A broken rope, and it looked identical, same texture, same material as the ropes used in the murders. This was a direct link confirming the rooftop as an access point and providing more physical evidence.
Rooftop access. That implies a certain skill, doesn't it? Planning.
Definitely. Knowledge of buildings, maybe climbing skills, certainly planning. So now let's pull these threads together. What picture is emerging? We have expensive fabric from Park Mellet, the FR lighter from Veliasar, the taunting note in Naziabad, the report of stalking, rooftop access and boot prints in Tehran Pars, and this specific type of broken rope matching the murder weapons.
Seemingly random details.
But they start to build a composite. Someone meticulous, perhaps well-off financially, potentially connected to Farhad Rahmani. Someone skilled in evasion, taunting, physically capable, and operating with chilling precision. Each clue refines that shadowy outline of the night bat.
So Bahram's back at the station, whiteboard covered in details. Victims, locations, dates, clues. He feels the connection, but can't quite pin it down. The pattern isn't typical.
The pieces are there, but they don't fit the usual puzzle shapes.
So he digs into the archives, old cases, and finds something incredible.
Yes, a chilling coincidence. Or maybe not a coincidence at all.
There was another night bat killer years ago.
Back in 1376 Persian calendar, so 1997-98, a notorious killer known by the exact same name, caught and eventually executed.
Wow. So the big question for Bahram and for us, what does this mean? Is this just a twisted copycat paying homage? Or is something deeper, more sinister going on? Is the original bat somehow back, or has someone just taken up the mantle?
And distinguishing between a copycat and a new perpetrator is a huge challenge. A copycat mimics, often to mislead or gain notoriety.
But the note the night bat sees, that doesn't sound like simple imitation.
Exactly. That complicates the copycat theory. It feels like a personal message, an assertion. Not just passive imitation, but claiming the identity, maybe even continuing a mission. It suggests awareness of the original, but also a belief in being its true successor or evolution. It's a challenge to the police, to the memory of the original killer.
Okay, so while Bahram is grappling with this, forensics comes through with a massive breakthrough. The ropes.
Yes, the medical examiner's detailed report.
Uh-huh.
All the ropes were identical. Not just any rope, but a specific type of synthetic climbing rope. Specialized equipment.
And the key detail.
Sold in only a few specialized stores in Tehran. Suddenly, a seemingly generic item becomes rare, traceable. Like finding a needle, but knowing the haystack is only in 3 specific barns.
That must have been a huge moment for Bahram, a concrete lead.
Absolutely, a flash of light. He acts immediately, goes to one of those stores on Manucherry Street.
And the seller remembers something.
Vividly. He recalls a man in a dark coat buying that exact rope months earlier. The brimmed hat, again, obscuring the face. But the seller remembered something else. The voice.
What about the voice?
He said it was strange, as if intentionally changed. Muffled, maybe distorted, This points to someone highly calculated, taking pains to conceal identity even in a simple transaction.
So very deliberate.
Extremely. And crucially, the seller provides Bahram with a list. Recent customers who bought that specific rope. Now they have a pool of names directly linked to the murder weapon. The net is tightening.
This is a great example of forensics and old-fashioned detective work coming together, isn't it?
Textbook. A specific limited availability item becomes a powerful lead, and that altered voice detail. It speaks volumes. This killer plans everything, covers every angle, reinforces Bahram's gut feeling this is no ordinary killer. They're thinking steps ahead.
But just as they feel they're closing in, the killer escalates, defiantly.
The fifth victim, Parisa Kazemi, a young lawyer, killed in her apartment in Saadabad, an affluent area.
Same MO.
Sickeningly familiar. Same rope, same bat symbol. Unwavering consistency. Almost a taunt in itself.
But there was something new this time, something really provocative.
Utterly provocative. Near the body, placed almost theatrically. An old camera.
Camera, what was on it?
Blurred photos of previous victims. A macabre trophy collection. Bahram knew instantly he was being played. Directly challenged.
And he recognized one photo specifically?
Yes. A blurry shot of a shadow in Park Mellet. The first crime scene, showing the same dark coat and brimmed hat. This wasn't just a taunt, it was direct communication. A morbid scrapbook left for him, daring him. It elevated the case to a personal psychological duel.
Why would a killer do that after being so careful, leave direct evidence?
It's a huge question. Arrogance. A need for attention. Or maybe a calculated move to mislead or manipulate. By proving they were at earlier scenes, maybe they're trying to control the narrative, taunt Bahram with their omnipresence.
So what's the ultimate goal? Is it just about killing anymore?
It seems not. It's become about this twisted communication, this deadly dialogue between the killer and the detective, maybe setting the stage for something bigger.
Okay, so with the FR lighter connection nagging at him and now this direct challenge, Bahram makes his move. He goes after Fahad Rahmani.
Immediately. Drives straight to Rahmani's opulent mansion in Zafraneh. The place is eerily empty. Silent.
But Bahram searches anyway.
Methodically. And in the basement, hidden away, he finds it. A cache. A box full of climbing ropes, identical to the murder weapons, photos of victims linking to the camera. And underneath it all, a notebook.
The notebook, what was inside?
This is the moment the case turns inside out. Victims' names neatly written, like a ledger. And alongside them, a scrawled note in Persian.
What did the note say?
A troncanto fe ya vi, which translates to, they deserve to die. The bat executes justice.
Executes justice, my God. So the killer sees themselves as
An agent of justice.
a vigilante. That changes everything. It's not just madness, it's ideology, a mission. Bahram must have realized this was something far darker than he initially thought.
Absolutely. It fundamentally shifts the psychological landscape. This isn't just a lone psychopath. The idea of a vigilante rationalizing murder as justice is terrifyingly complex.
How does someone get to that point, believing they have the right to decide who dies?
Often it stems from profound grievance, disillusionment with formal justice systems, seeing them as corrupt, inadequate, slow. Or it can come from a narcissistic belief in one's own moral superiority, a messianic complex. They appoint themselves judge, jury, and executioner.
So it's not just a lone wolf. It could reflect deeper societal issues.
Potentially. A breakdown in trust that allows these twisted ideologies to fester and find violent outlets.
Okay, so evidence points to Rahmani. Bahram knows he has to act, but senses this killer is smart, maybe anticipating him.
He knows Rahmani is a step ahead. He needs to force their hand.
So he gathers his special team and comes up with a risky plan, a psychological gamble.
Yes. He deliberately leaks info to the media. Lets it be known the police have a major lead, that an arrest of the Night Bat is imminent.
That sounds incredibly risky. What if the killer just disappears?
It's a huge gamble. It could pressure the suspect into making a mistake, or it could alert them, allow them to vanish or destroy evidence. It's designed to provoke a reaction, bait the killer's overconfidence. A dangerous game of chicken.
Does it work? Does the killer react?
They do. Driven by that overconfidence, perhaps, or needing one last defiant act. The very same night the news breaks, another murder. A doctor at Shariati Hospital.
Oh.
Same rope, same bat symbol. The killer couldn't resist, mocking the police one last time.
But they made a mistake this time.
A crucial fatal error. Hospital CCTV caught a fleeting moment. A man in a dark coat entered the basement. Blurry, brief, but enough. Their meticulous planning finally slipped.
And Bahram sees the footage.
Yes. Pacing in the surveillance room, reviewing it frame by frame. And there it is, grainy but unmistakable, Rahmani's face.
They got him. The trap worked.
The trap worked. Farhad Rahmani, the enigmatic businessman, the shadow in previous cases, unequivocally identified, but at the cost of another life.
It's fascinating, though, how often that overconfidence, that need for one last act, leads to their downfall.
Absolutely. The psychological battle. The killer's compulsion becomes their undoing. Their pattern, so ingrained, leads them right into the path of capture.
So the raid happens. Bahram's team moves on Rahmani's mansion at dawn.
They find him in a secret basement room, frantically burning documents, the air thick with smoke and desperation. He's apprehended without a fight.
And the interrogation, does he confess?
Initially, denial, cold silence. But when Bahram lays out the evidence ropes, photos of the notebook, Rahmani offers this bitter, knowing smile.
And then,
the bombshell. The stunning partial confession that changes everything. He speaks, low and clear, in Persian.
what does he say? Recite it again.
Are you saying you I hear you? Say you were something at here. Get a hold of Tehran Night Terror.
You thought I was the killer. I'm just a pawn. The real bat is still in the shadows.
Chilling, isn't it? Absolutely shocking. It transforms the entire case. Rahmani, this meticulous killer, is just a pawn. It implies a mastermind, a larger entity pulling the strings.
A network.
Exactly. Not a lone wolf, but an organized operation. With coordination, resources. Deeply unsettling. Rahmani admits briefly that he worked for a larger network. A network arranging murders for revenge against people they deemed corrupt.
So the Night Bat is an instrument for this group.
It seems so. An organized, ideologically driven group operating with its own twisted moral compass. The big question becomes, who are they? How powerful is this network to orchestrate these crimes with such impunity? How deep does it go?
But Rahmani won't say more.
No. He refuses to name the head of the network, then falls completely silent, leaving this gaping, agonizing hole in the investigation. The masterminds remain hidden.
That silence must have been terrifying for Bahram, knowing the capture wasn't the end.
He knew it instantly. Kept the case officially open. Realized they'd only scratched the surface of a much larger, darker conspiracy. The city might breathe easier, but the real threat was still out there.
And that final scene, weeks later, in Bahram's apartment, it drives home that lingering threat.
Vividly. He's in Yusuf bed, hears footsteps outside his door. The lights go out. A tall shadow appears behind the door.
Menacing.
He opens the door. No one's there. Just a piece of paper on the floor.
Another message.
Yes. Ash, old back here. The bat still flies.
So Bahram is left looking out at the dark streets of Tehran, knowing a bigger killer, this network is still out there, waiting. The hunt isn't over.
Far from it.
So what a journey. From that initial wave of terror through Sharifi's relentless investigation, tracking clues like the fabric, the lighter, the notes, to capturing Rahmani only to discover he's just a pawn. And that final chilling realization of a hidden organization executing its own twisted justice.
It's a case that really highlights the depth of fear in a community, the complexity of pursuing truth against an organized ideological foe, and how much darkness can hide beneath a city's surface.
It really does.
And it leaves us, and you, our listener, with a really important question to think about. In a world awash with information, where ideas of justice vary so much, how do we discern real justice from simple vengeance? Especially when those claiming to deliver it operate from the shadows, hidden in plain sight, using violence for their ideology. The idea of such a group existing, operating within a modern city, it raises profound questions about societal vulnerabilities, maybe perceived failures in the formal justice system that allows such things to grow, and that lingering uncertainty knowing the real bat still flies. What does that say about our ability to confront these hidden forces?
So eu pensei só em o svår lucky shot, you know. So